him, I was just like shortcutting the technique. I was like, well, what are we doing all this stuff for? Let's just do this. And we started like working on one another. And he goes, man, this is great. This is way better than what we're learning. And he said, you got to teach this. I said, well, it's not my work. And besides, what would we even call it? And he was the one who said, we'll call it dynamite. And I said, no, 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 we'll call it TNT. So that the name came out, 20 years before the actual technique. And all of that work is long gone. It's really quite original work. And what we'll be doing today, I think, Darius, is at different times I'll be using some of that work. And then I'll also be showing and demonstrating the Angelic Heart Focus, which is I'm just so impressed with. I'm so amazed with. I can't wait to tell you more about how I discovered that.
Yeah, let's do that. Unpacking how the Angelic Heart Focus came into being, because what is very interesting is a lot of times, we've connected with angels for information, but you are using this realm in a very different way. How did all that open up, and what are you using them for?
Well, a total knowledge technique is the grand poobah. I mean, it was as I started putting that together, I had to define what I wanted them to do. I started recognizing that, I've done a lot of studies with different angelic healing and this sort of thing, and what I started noticing is that you feel good, but it doesn't take care of the things that need to be healed in people, and so as what I started recognizing is the more specific, the better the knowledge, the better the result, because they don't understand what our experiences are here, and they don't have the knowledge. They are omnipotent beings. They're in another dimension, and when we ask them to come in, they come in here, and they do that for all techniques. They do that for everybody here right now. But we ask them for help, and they don't really understand what they want us to do.
And we got somebody unmuted here. If y'all could stay muted, I know we're getting a bunch of people coming on excited. So if we ask them, how do we get them to actually know what to do? And I guess before we get to that, Dr. T, how did this start to open up for you? You've shared a few experiences of near death. I know of a couple just from your book and our private discussions. I mean, take us back. What sort of started opening this door for you?
Well, certainly it's in the book, which I just happened to have it behind me so everyone could see it. Um, no self promotion there. I'm really proud of this little book. It's a small book. It's a quick read, but I really laid out a lot of the things that formed me my early years. And the biggest one, of course, is I did get saved by an angel when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And we call it a tale because we're not, I don't remember the exact year and date and time, because back then, this was like 1976, 1977. We didn't have libraries in the little town I grew up in. I mean, we had one, but they didn't have any books on this stuff. And, back then we didn't have internet. I didn't know who to even talk to about it. And so long story short, the story is longer in the book, but I got shocked. Got shocked on a farm, and I woke up across the machine shed, which is a very large machine shed. We could hold 10 tractors and wagons. And I woke up, and I like woke up for a second, and all of a sudden I was up above my body looking down on my body, and it instantly transformed to me lying on a table with all these doctors around me with their surgery masks on. You couldn't see their faces, and they'd poke me and shake their head and poke me again, and they'd all look at each other and just say no, no. They just kept shaking their heads no. And I'm floating up there going, what in the heck is going on here? I was just too young. I just had no cognition at all about the near-death experience, dying, any of that stuff. Even though I had grown up as a Catholic, and we barely went. We're scared of it, so we don't talk about it. And
Yep.
Another long story short, all of a sudden this bright light came in the far side of the shed, and it was like, okay, everybody back up. And they all looked up and like, they all were saying, nope, there's it's not going to happen. And it was like, it was too bright to look at, and it was just a flash. And I woke up on the floor, and she said something along the lines of, he's got other things to do.
Yeah.
And it was over with. She was gone. The voice, it was a woman's voice. She was gone. The doctors were gone. And I'm sitting there. I got burnt gloves. I got holes in my boots. I smell like I'm a roasted chicken. And 2 hours had passed. I thought it was, 2 or 3 minutes. And so I always had that. And, I walked out of the machine shed, got on my bicycle, rode the 8 miles home. And of course, my boss, fired me on the spot because, you got to get up there and plow that field. And I went home and told my dad, who was a doctor, and you know, they just kind of brushed it off and like, you know, you'll feel better in a day. You know, it's a tough, you know, that's how it was back then when we grew up, you know, and it wasn't a big deal. But so that was the first time, and then life goes on, and I had no interest in getting into the healing arts. I had
Hmm.
no, I mean, I just kind of drifted through doing whatever job, you know, I've done 1,000 different things, and then it started looping back around, and that's when the motorcycle accidents happened, and my time in Santa Cruz, overlooking the ocean and hearing it come right into my mind, just like I'm talking to you. You know, you're going to go to school, you're going to become a doctor, or we're not going to keep you on this planet. I mean, I mean
Wow.
the exact words, we will kill you. But I don't like to even repeat those words. But that's what came into my mind, just loud and clear, plain as day. I was like, okay, I'm checking my dial-up internet now.
Well, I'm touched by your story, particularly with the motorcycle accident, because that is what happened to me. That's one of the reasons I started the show. Mine, thankfully, was on the dirt. So once I flew off the bike, I didn't have to worry about getting creamed by another car. But yours was quite severe. And it was after healing that you kind of, I guess, were told, okay, now you need to go into the healing arts. But I'm curious, you had this quantum mechanics movement into chiropractic that was happening. You had angels, you know, from when you were a young man and got burned in that accident. How did these two come together where the angelic realm and now the quantum mechanics realm started somehow becoming one? I mean, what opened that up?
Well, for me, I thought I was going to be a chiropractor. You know, I got
Hmm.
great, big, strong hands like my father. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to be a cruncher, and I'm going to be adjusting. I'm going to be the best adjuster ever. And, you know, all that stuff was in my mind. And
Yeah.
the first week in school, an after class, an after school class you could take. And because I was enrolled in the college, I could go take this class. And there's a 92-year-old guy teaching this class. I don't even remember what it was called now. It was not T-touch, but something similar. But
Ooh.
anyhow, it was really interesting. And he's, you know, touching different parts of the skull and doing muscle testing with a nutrition. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had all these questions ready for him. I was all excited. And I come up to him, hey, at lunchtime, hey, doc, I got a couple questions for you. And he kind of sits back and looks off, and he holds up his hands. Hey, hold on. And he's kind of looking off in the distance, and he puts his finger down on his finger and comes up his arm all the way up and underneath his clavicle. And he stops and he goes, oh, okay. What was your question? I said, well, what was that? And he said, oh, that was Mary in North Carolina having heart murmurs. She called me this morning. I just figured I'd take care of him for it really quick. And I was like, oh gosh. I mean, I look back on it. You know, this is almost 30 years ago. I'm just like, I was scared. I was like, what? Oh my God, the guy's crazy. I thought he was amazing. He's nuts. And I turned around and ran out of that room. And a week later, I'm in a big seminar with the real doctors for applied kinesiology, doctors flying in from all over the country, and seeing some of the top doctors in there. And there was one guy sitting in the corner, you know, he's testing his hands and he's got another hand over his. I'm like, oh, okay, I got to go ask him, you know. So I
Yeah.
went up and say, hey, you're treating somebody somewhere else, aren't you? And he said, yeah, don't tell anybody. That you got to look up quantum mechanics. And so that's what started the journey with quantum mechanics, and like, okay, it's real. And I ended up going seeing him in his office a few weeks later for an appointment, and just, you know, picked his brain. And he was like, yeah, you have the same results. It's all, you know, intention. He really just kind of gave me a shortcut of like how it happens with quantum mechanics, and I've just taken it and made it real clear.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people may be familiar with the idea, or maybe they've thought or heard that you could literally adjust or make some sort of shifts to another human being at a distance, goes to quantum physics, non-locality, etc. But for people trying to understand that or just trying to grasp how these men were adjusting, you know, let's say a lady's heart murmur from thousands of miles away, how does that work? Paint kind of your understanding of this perhaps non-locality idea in physics, this truth in quantum physics.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the Heisenberg principle primarily.
Okay.
That's the double slit experiment that, you know, when they looked at it, it changed. And so the biggest thing is our active observation. When we look at something, it changes. So if you are have intention and clarity, and you're looking at something, You are collapsing all this potential, and this is everyone. This is all of humanity. We all have the same talent. We all have the same ability. We're collapsing all that potential into that which what we're looking at, and so with non-locality, of course, I like to bring in, the biggest part I think is the knowledge, because what's actually driving that heart murmur. And so figuring that out is the biggest thing. When we know what's driving it, then we can tell the angels, hey, come in here and go after that. And of course, the heart, as I'm sure you know, has its own nervous system. It has its own circulatory system. It fires before the brain does, with input. It's such a big thing, and I find emotion and the heart are, so often intertwined, and it's rarely, if you ask me, it's rarely the heart. It's usually something that's dragging on the heart. And as we know, some of this, as I put together some of this knowledge, and you start looking at things like, say, the vagus nerve tract, you see that the liver and the kidneys and all these other organs down below the heart, they tend to be dysfunctional way longer before the heart, but they're getting the energy. And so the heart starts doing crazy things trying to get the energy back up to it. And that causes a lot of that odd stuff happening in the heart. So that's where the knowledge comes in at is, somebody says, hey, I have heart murmurs. I never look at the heart. I ask what's causing that, because our hearts are really resilient.
Yes. Yes, they absolutely are. But you're right. There's so many emotions that tend to drag it down. And these are emotions that maybe we've held all through our life, or would we carry some of these over, Dr. T, from other lives or other incarnations? What's your feeling on that?
Absolutely, 100%. Transgenerational for sure, emotions and other things. That's other places where the knowledge comes in. Things I would see and I would treat, and I'd be like, well, that sure is wild. Better write that one down. And then, oh my gosh, here it is again. I better write that one down. And so we bring stuff in from many generations back. When I look at it really closely, I think it's 8, but I know people are like, oh no, it's many more, but it doesn't really matter. 8's enough for me.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on back 8 generations ago. They remember back in the turn of the century, they thought a mercury drink was good for us.
That's right. That's right. And the lead-based wallpaper was all the rage in the 1900s till families started dropping dead, right? Um, the angels working in this realm with quantum mechanics, do they understand sort of quantum mechanics at a probably level we can't understand, or do they just work to maybe bring the imbalance out of the body and just restore harmony? How do you see their knowledge or their input into this?
Well, I think they're super curious, and I think that they are super intelligent. They know everything in the universe, but they don't know everything in this dimension we're in, and they don't know what ails us specifically. So if I just ask, "Hey, I need help. I have back pain," they'll come in and go, "Okay, here you go. Here's a blessing. Hope it feels better," and you do feel a little better, but it doesn't go away
Okay. Okay.
because is the back pain being driven by something else? I mean, if it's emotion, they didn't know that. And I know that's like, well, really, do they need that much specificity? I believe so. I mean, from all of the work I've done, I think that they need to have specifics of like, is it emotion driving that back pain? Is there a pathogen driving that back pain? Is there a previous injury? Is there a past life thought, a past life event? Is there a toxin that they brought in transgenerationally? So there's so many things that I think that, and not to mention, I mean, we're all getting blasted wherever we're at right now. I mean, the electromagnetics now in this in our world, we never are we can hardly escape what we've created.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You recently taught a class at the prestigious Omega Institute. I know you teach there a lot, and you have real tangible results as you are helping people all over the world. For people trying to understand, like, what are these angelic beings doing? How is this affecting the bodies? What are some of the stories of things you've seen through this work?
Well, it's frequency, so it's all frequency. So
Okay.
they come in, yep, they come in, and if we have the right frequency, and you hear this all the time, there's all kinds of frequency machines, and there's people doing the bells, all that, everything is fantastic. But what we're able to do with the knowledge is we're able to modulate them for them to find the frequency that creates the healing. So, if I was to step back and say, okay, what's the biggest things that affect humanity? I would have to say all this anchored emotion from events from the time we're children.
Okay.
We hide it, we pack it in, we sneak around it, we don't address it, and even if we've talked about it for years and years and years, I still find it still in there, and we can demonstrate this later, but. So it's frequency based, and some of the other things that some of this knowledge are things of like pathogens that we bring in when we're born from down family lines and clear up to 7, 8 generations ago, and that's how one of the reasons how I figured that out one time was a client had this really very unusual issue, and I was like, does your mom or dad have that? No. Grandma or grandpa? No, but I think my mom said, great grandma had this sort of thing, and sometimes it'll skip generations. And I'm talking about pathogens, which are molds, fungus, yeast, viruses, bacteria, mycoplasma, the whole thing you learn in microbiology is out there, and a lot of it is transgenerational. Something else that's really, we spent 30 seconds on it in microbiology. 2 years of microbiology class, I didn't learn anything other than cell wall deficient forms, which we spent 5 minutes on. And that's something that is very prevalent, and it's just not out there. People, doctors, no one knows about it. There's no pill for it. These are the sorts of things that a lot of these frequency developing devices are trying to get to, but they don't have the ability to modulate those vibrations because they're continually changing now with all the electromagnetics we're having, all the new poisons that we are experiencing, some of these new forever chemicals that are out there. All these things are new to the human body. And so we're able with the angels to modulate their frequency to find the exact one to have them disappear.
Yeah, that is really interesting. So it's a totally unique way that I've never heard of other than, talking with you about this modulation that the angels are doing. And if you have got a question for Dr. T, or you just want some time maybe to ask or see what is there for Dr. T to plug into with you, go ahead and just raise your hand. Now, Dr. T, I mean, this kind of blows my mind. So let's say you're working with someone. What is kind of the process? You call on the angels, you bring them in, and then how does the modulation work? Are you hearing it? Is it something the person hears? Is it sort of a sequence or pattern that they start to begin to transmit? And then what happens when that frequency, that key frequency, is discovered?
Well, when that key frequency is discovered, everything disappears magically. I mean, it's
Really?
magic. Yeah, and so this is TNT, and so what we've done for TNT is what we call the super easy, and so it's a we used to call it the roadmap, but now we call it the super easy, and so this is what I do every single time, because this super easy starts peeling back the layers to get to the deeper parts of what I think is going on with somebody. And so I do this every single time. And after I've done that a couple of times, say somebody has a number of sessions, we'll go through that a few times, then I can jump right to priorities. What is the biggest priority? Is it emotion?
Wow.
Is it spiritual? Is it physical? So those are, I try to stick with those three, the triangle, those three things tend to really help people get over the bump and get healing.
Well, we're going to grab some callers. I know there's a lot of questions folks have. Share kind of some of the things you've seen shift. And again, we're not offering medical advice, treatment, or guidance. Everyone is different. But from the standpoint of what you've seen, Dr. T, what are some stories or some of your favorite, maybe things that astounded you that started happening with this?
You have a few hours. I wish I was joking. I would if it's just absolutely astounding some of the stuff that we've seen.
Mm,
And being a doctor of chiropractic, I can't.
yeah.
I only use my certification as clinical hypnotherapist with all of my remote sessions because I've been
Yep.
been 100% remote doctor now for I don't know 7 or 8 years. I think I've been out of the office that long. So when I see somebody live, it's usually in my training classes. But
Mhm.
we've seen bones regrow. We've seen tumors disappear. We've seen tumors in a 6-year-old boy's arm have completely regrow new bone all the way through the entire tumor.
And that was a boy they said would not grow bone back, and it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we've and I have the X-rays. I mean, it's not like and it's impossible. Some of the things that we've seen are impossible. I mean, we had a gentleman who had advanced prostate cancer, metastasized his entire body. It ate his collarbones. It ate one of his hip joints completely out where he couldn't walk. He completely regrew it all, and he lived about 4 more years. And I actually met him. He was one of the few people I met, and and it was wild when I met him. He was like, "Yeah, it's just still got it here. There's a little bit here in that right hip, and that's where the hip bone was completely eaten out." And I was working on him, and I had him get up and walk, and he'd come back and sit down. And he looked up at me. He said, "You know what? I'm just done living. I don't want you to do anything else. You've helped me so much.
That's
I've lived these 4 years, and I'm just done living, and I'm ready to go. I don't want to be here anymore." And it's okay. Hey, that's okay with me. Can I get your car? That's a bad joke.
that's
Um, Jimmy's up there laughing. He's like, "Yep, that's Tony." Jimmy was an amazing human, and he said, "I'm just done." And
yeah.
I think it was 4 days later, he didn't wake up. And so and it continues from there. I mean, we can all look at different things that people. Hannah the cat, she was looking at losing her little eyeball, and she's a famous cat. She's been on some video that's got like 3 million views or something. She's a celebrity now, and but I've seen so much stuff. I've seen toes being needing to be amputated and stopping any additional toes being cut off. We've seen, we have a whole stack of, it literally would take a few hours to tell you it all. I see a name of somebody on here who was in one of my classes over, I don't know, probably 2 years ago now, and we were doing a frequency in the class for tinnitus. I think we had 10 or 12 people had tinnitus. What do you mean everybody's got tinnitus? And so
Yeah.
we treated tinnitus, and everybody got better except one person, and then another person regained their hearing. She's on here. I can't say her name, but she's on here, and
Well,
she
if
regained
she's here
hearing in
and
a
she wants,
year.
if,
Yeah.
she, if whoever you are wants to share, shoot me a message and say, I'd love to share the story with Dr. T in my hearing. Please do that. Incredible stuff. And, I want to say everyone is different. These are spirit led, you know, energy shifts. So there's just a realm of possibilities when spirit gets involved and the body gets back into balance. If there was one thing that seems to come up again and again as maybe a cause or a reason that people decline in health or in other areas, what do you find? Is always like something you got, it's that thing again, or it's that this is the thing that comes up again and again. The angels show me, I see it. Is there anything like that that you can point people to who want to at least start to look at their own life maybe a little differently and how they're processing things?
Well, I would have to say that emotion. I mean, certainly there's a big spiritual affect, a big physical affect, but I would have to say that I've seen more miracles getting that anchored emotion out of people than anything else. I mean, things that you just can't even imagine disappearing when you're able to get that. And and that's the beautiful thing about angels and having this knowledge. A lot of people talk about distortions. I see on the chat, that's me, Sarah. So that's Sarah. Sarah revealed her name, but she's on there. And
Yeah, she is. I told her, well, if you ever want to share, let me know. She's probably going to
yeah.
write back.
Well, she's very shy, and I don't blame her. But hey, she can
Yeah.
hear. That's all I care. And we've had other miracles with her and her husband. And yeah, I think they're bona fide miracles. Um,
Wow.
but the emotional affect is just such a big deal. I mean, it
Yep.
really is. We are emotional beings. One of those thoughts that you're bad or you're this or you can't do that or you can't do this. All it takes is a couple of those to sneak into that subconscious, and disease process starts. We can talk about the big, the C word, right? And everyone's like, oh, what, oh, we have no idea what it is. It's like, well, baloney. It's emotion, and then some kind of pathogen and some kind of toxin all combined. It's all of it. It's not just one thing. And so, and not to mention the field of it, right? And so,
The field, what does
the
that mean,
field of
Dr.
it.
T?
If you've been told you have it, um,
The
you know,
morphogenetic field, like you're now
yes,
in
the
the
morphic field, the morphic
field
field.
of to
Yep.
see. Yeah,
Yeah, let me throw in here a quick message to everyone out there because
please do.
I love this. This is my favorite one to pass on. And this comes from, oh gosh, what was her name? She was amazing, amazing spiritual teacher, but she is gone. But this was my favorite thing she gave me. And that's to everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Cancel,
sir.
cancel, cancel.
I say
Oh, you
that
have
too.
you have this.
Yes.
You have that. No, I don't. Cancel, cancel, cancel. And that goes for, self-generated thoughts, I mean, occasionally people, people have that. People have self-generated thoughts of like, you're this, you're that. Cancel those 3 times. That's the key. Cancel them 3 times because that blocks out that little thought trying to sneak into your subconscious. And on the subconscious, that's where the angels with everything that we're working with, that's where they do their work. That's our intention. That's what we're asking them to do is the subconscious. The conscious level, I like to use the conscious level to determine what's happening. So, you got a pain in that leg, or how does this feel when I push your mind towards, an emotion that shouldn't be in your body?
Right.
I use the conscious mind for that. And then my intention is for the angels to do the work in the subconscious. That's why it's so effective, I believe.
Very interesting. Yeah, I heard that as well. And I can't remember who it was either, but cancel, cancel, cancel is like the programming language to basically eradicate that virus. Super important. Thank you for that, Dr. T. Validating my own understanding of that. I want to grab some callers. I know we've got a lot of folks here who are maybe wanting some guidance, and I don't know if we have time to work on folks or just give them maybe some guidance as to what could be going on emotionally or energetically. What would be the best way to proceed? I mean, I'd like to get through maybe 3 or 4 folks today. Dr. T, what would you recommend?
Sorry, I was reading Dana.
I know that does not sound fun.
Sorry about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
let
how
me read it.
wonderful. Yeah,
Let me read that. So Dana, she had a dental crown that popped out twice. Now I didn't know she worked with you. I was like, man, this is terrible because I had dental stuff recently. And she said her body was rejecting it. And she said Dr. T treated it and has happily been in place ever since. Also, chronic tooth pain, the dentist had not been able to figure out for over a year, completely soul healed. That's what I always say, soul healed the same day. Wow, Dana, that is amazing.
thanks, Dana. I need all the props I can get.
I love that. That is incredible.
And so, so for some of these things, I said, yeah, we'll use the active observation. Well, here's the kind of thing that we use in TNT and
Okay.
even in the Angelic Heart Focus is this is your trigeminal nerve. This is the nerves to all your teeth. And so when I'm doing my work, I just imagine this? Absolutely. But when I have this in front of me and I'm looking at what tooth it was, I'm able to collapse all that potential into that nerve and have the angel figure out what's gone wrong with it. And with her
Wow.
crown, which so many of us, including myself, have had crown issues and different, prosthesis put in our mouth, our hips, our knees, wherever. We have a specific protocol to have the body accept those, and it works like magic. I mean, I've done thousands of these for teeth and fixed so many teeth I couldn't. Again, it would take us days just to tell you of the crazy tooth stuff that people have experienced that we're able to address with angels. It's very exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, I
So
want to I want to maybe take a couple callers. Maybe they have some questions, just whether you've worked in a particular area or if there's anything coming forward for them. I don't think we have time to do, full blown, energy work here, but I'll let kind of things unfold. Is that okay, Dr. T?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm sorry I kind of dragged us off track, but I
Oh
was so
no, that's an
excited.
amazing story because I was recently having teeth issues too. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to come see you if I get any sort of like crown or anything. I definitely did not want a root canal, so I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We'll do something else. So all right, let's let's go to a caller now. I've got Lydia, who was one of the first ones to raise her hand. So Lydia, I'm gonna unmute you real quick. And do you have a question for Dr. T, Anthony Cahill?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, can you hear me?
I sure
Yes.
can.
Hello, Lydia.
Awesome. Well, I did all kinds of tests on my digestion issue, and I'm constipated, and doctors could not find a thing. all these amazing diets that, are like on the one product for 6 months, and all of that I went through. It's it's been a challenge, but they say it's in my head. I work on my head. Maybe Dr. T can look and see what's going on.
Well, I would normally have a joke over that because I like to joke about constipation. I'm such a bad boy. But I'm not going to joke on that today because that's not fair. I don't know you. You took my class, we would crack a couple of jokes though, Lydia. But let's take a look here real quick here. So is it your gastrointestinal tract? It's not. Is this emotion? It's not. It's physical. It's your liver.
Liver. I sleep and I love my liver, and I sleep with a castor oil pack every night. Best sleep ever.
So you'll want to do a little more. You'll want to find something. There's lots of different supplements out there that will help detox the liver even more. And the liver is also anger, so that's also a part of it. So that's a deeper layer of emotional healing that you would want to do with the liver. And I am finding that's like secondary to. Do you experience gastric reflux?
No.
Good. Yeah, I'm finding liver, and I am finding some anchored anger. So those are two things that I do believe that would really help with that. Now, constipation usually is not the gastrointestinal tract. I usually find it's something else, usually spleen or liver tends to be, and certainly a lot of emotion around that as well. But I'm not finding that in the gastrointestinal tract, but I am in the liver. So that's something you want to focus on. And I think we're going to do a couple of different processes here in a little bit, and we can throw that in there as well.
All right. Thank you,
Very
Lydia.
gently.
Is that surprising about anger? I mean, it's interesting. We probably all have some levels of that's not fully in our awareness.
Anger is absolutely surprising.
So Lydia, close your eyes. And bring to mind anger, right? Anger, right? Bring to mind frustration. Bring to mind being boiling, seething, stewing, or simmering, or smoldering, just incensed over, I don't know what. Just allow your mind and body to feel into that vibration of, just hard to let something go. Do you feel a physical sensation?
I feel love.
You feel what?
Love.
Oh.
Okay.
My body's smiling.
Okay. Well, I didn't want you to feel into love. I wanted you to feel into anger, but that's okay. I could be wrong. Perhaps it's not one of the issues.
Well, it's interesting. I find a lot, and I'm not saying that she's wrong, but I do find a lot in spiritual communities. It's almost like frowned upon to actually tap into emotions that feel like kind of on the lower plane. And so a lot of times we can suppress those, and then what we suppress we express. So I could tap into anger like immediately. I guess that way. And I've been doing this a while, so you just want to feel into that. I suspect there's probably a little more to that, just to unpack, maybe not in a group. But Lydia, thank you.
Certainly the physiology of the liver is a big deal. Our livers have been inundated. There's a number of different supplements out there that really help decongest the liver. I'm just not at a place to talk about those really. But there's a lot out there. I'm sure you can find guidance on that and I'm not talking about detoxing it. I'm talking about decongesting it, because that's what happens with our liver so often is it gets congested with all these things that are new to the human experience. And so that is kind of what I'm talking about when I say, get some extra support for the liver. And that should really make a big difference.
All right. Thank you, Lydia. And, dive in. There might be things just that are way, way, way deep down, and that's why they linger. Mary, I want to go to you. You're just shining brightly. Love your background. We got Mary Ann. How are you today, Mary? What's going on?
Hi.
Hi.
Anger, that's an interesting topic. I to see what was blocking me in aligning my will with my soul's will. And I'm heading to a meeting next week regarding leadership for my tribe. And there is a lot of anger there regarding the misogyny and the betrayal and corruption that's happening in my tribe. And trying to prepare myself for that meeting.
Mm.
And
are you feeling anything in your body? Is it affecting you physically in any way, like kind of this upcoming meeting or event?
Right now, I can feel it in my gut.
Gut is the seat of the subconscious. It's the seat of all emotion. And when we have to help everybody, right, Darius? I mean, we have to,
Yeah.
So well, when we get going here, Marianne, we'll do a process for anger for everybody to see who can feel it. We'll do it for all of them. We'll just do a small, it won't be too long. It'll be quick as we can, and we have to follow the guidelines, but yeah, everybody should get a little taste of angels. I'm on here. I love to do what I do. I'm so honored and blessed and lucky. But around anger, I just want to remind you and everybody else, anger is what would Mark Twain say? He said, anger is like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to get sick.
Yeah, exactly.
I love some of his little quips, but yeah, it's like, they don't feel it. They have no idea they're even mad. And so it's really important for us, our energetic bodies, our health of all of our organs. Anger is a big one. And what we'll do is I'll demonstrate, I'll show you who, usually we can figure out who's experiencing it and who isn't, who's going to get the biggest benefit.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Marianne. I know he's going to appreciate that. I want to go to Erica. She's got her hand raised. Erica Para, sending you an unmute request. Hopefully you can get to that and let us know what your question is for Dr. T today. What's going on, Erica? You're live.
Hi, Darius. Thank you for having me. That's actually, he answered it with the constipation thing. That was really cool. I never heard of that, the liver and the spleen.
So it sounds like you were having some issues around that.
Yeah. So I think my question was answered in that regard.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. Well, that was fast. Good deal. All right.
I usually ask people who have that issue if they experience gastric reflux, because so many times, 70-80% of the times, people experience gastric reflux on top of constipation. And that is that's when I know it's 100%. It's the liver. Gotta get that liver going, because gastric reflux has nothing to do with your stomach. It's a neurological issue that's coming from the liver. The liver sends a signal, and the stomach starts producing stomach acid, and the liver is the organ screaming help. And again, we go to gastrointestinal doctors. They don't even know that. It's too bad.
That's amazing. I want to get to Crystal, who's got a question. Hey, Crystal, found you, my dear. What's going on?
Yeah, hi. I had a little break in the communication, and I thought, I have a feeling I missed you. So thank you for coming back around. Hey, I love the angel story. I have a story separate from my question. My question, you hit on tinnitus, and I've had it. It's not something I've had all my life or anything, but I've had like a low level. And then I started experiencing a lot more ascension symptoms and the tinnitus. And I went through 6 ketamine treatments, and it is up a few pitches. And is this something that you can kind of help tweak to lower that frequency?
I think we'll do a little bit of that for everybody, because there's certain things that can drive tinnitus, that can drive other things in the body. And I'm just kind of like, why don't we just do a little bit of all of it when we do the process? We will add that. I'm just afraid I'm going to forget some of this stuff. I'm going to grab a pen really quick, and it's right here. Hang on.
That's awesome. All right. Well,
good deal.
Dr. T is a big giver, and it's interesting, we're experiencing so many different frequencies coming at us. Dr. T, do the angels ever give you any wisdom kind of on this whole ascension and what's going on with humanity, kind of where we're going, what to do with the bodies so that we, I know there's obviously a lot of people, like we talked privately, getting sick, rates of cancers and other things are seemingly on the rise. Did the angels ever give you any guidance on kind of what's happening and where this is going?
Not really. They've shown me certain things, but really it's like you got to get as many people as possible working with their angels. I mean, that's why the Angelic Heart Focus is coming out. It's so easy. It's so powerful to have a powerful tool like that to heal yourself. And should I talk about that just for a minute?
Sure.
Can I share one quick snippet?
Please.
So when I was a teenager, I was 16. I was with a bunch of friends and we were drinking. And I had an experience where it's like this shield came around me. And I've heard the guide voices, that kind of thing, but this felt very elevated. And I had this shield come around me and said, stop. If you drink that, you will stop breathing and die. But it's like the whole room went quiet. It's like I could see people, but the only thing I could hear was that. And I know that was like a life-saving intervention. And what was interesting is because when this tinnitus thing popped up, that story came back. I'd forgotten about it.
Interesting. Well, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense to me with what I find with emotion and physical issues that pop in and out of our experience, for sure. And they call it spirits for a reason, right?
Yeah.
and how lucky are you to have that intervention? I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna bring
Thank
up. Yeah, absolutely, and we will get to that. That is, tinnitus is. I believe it's a pathogen that gets into the incus, malleus, and stapes, the bones of the inner ears. What I believe it is, and/or the cochlea hairs, and usually enters due to some sort of emotional affect, some sort of kind of shock to the system. Something either that or something you don't want to listen to, something you don't want to hear.
Oh, really?
Is what I find tends to open us up for those sorts of things. But back to your first question about, am I getting, are they telling me anything about the ascension, that sort of thing? No, but they are revealing how, that we have our hands full. We have our hands full, and I don't want, I don't like, I'm not a fearful person. But they made it very clear that they want this workout. They want to help me do this. They want everybody to start waking up to using their angels for their own healing. And it's interesting because I came up with this particular technique first many years ago.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I put it down. I'd have people come in and I'd run them through. I'd just tell them what to do, and they'd get up and be, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" I'm like, "Oh, just not worry about it. You feel better, right? Everything is gone." And they would leave, and then fast forward 15 years, I'm working with angels all the time now. That's all I do. I don't do any physical manipulation or nothing. And I started noticing that people would either send me an email or they would come into the office and say, "Hey, did you work on me a couple of weeks ago?" I say, "No, why? What happened?" "Well, I was going down to my favorite waterfall, and all of a sudden I felt this, something else, was removed from my, dis-ease or my discomfort." And I'm, interesting. And then, somebody would say, "Well, my team won a football game and I can't believe I felt so much better after that." I'm like, it's just like when they bring in joy and they bring in cheer and happiness, I think it just opened them up for their own guardian angel to do more work that it's aware of now, because we'd already done work with these other angels that we work with TNT. That's what I think. Wow. And so then I just kind of changed the, was Heart Focus. Now we've changed it to Angelic Heart Focus, and it's extremely powerful. I'm really, really excited about it, really proud of the work, and I can't wait to share more of it.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that. And it sounds like what you've done is you've taken how you work with others, and some respect for those that want to learn how, show people, the world, how to actually activate this very interesting merger between quantum mechanics, angelic energy, and frequency, and perhaps even some of the modular vibrations that we're going to get into. It's pretty astounding. I want to get to the live process as well. I know a lot of people want to release that unfounded anxiety. Maybe a little bit of that anger too might also get released here today. I want to talk though about something really quick, Dr. T, that you mentioned to me privately. And you said this was a really important thing that most people do not realize is going on. And you seemed very concerned about it. I think it's going to affect the audience. That is the pathogens. You mentioned this with the ear. What is going on with the pathogenic universe right now, and why is this happening, and what do we need to be aware of or maybe watch out for?
Well, we have so many new things that have been introduced into our environment, and we don't want to go down that rabbit hole too far. But even when you buy, say, a new coffee maker, they're even on the instructions in bold, it's like scrub every part of this thing.
Yeah,
seriously. And you get on and you get on an airplane. One of the things that they do is spray all the seats with fire retardant. That's one of our rules that we do. And look at all these forest fires out there, and these cities burning down. Do we really think that we escaped all that? Just the Palisades fire. Do we really think that just goes up and is gone? That's affecting our entire planet. Will be for 20, 30 years. So we're having all these substances introduced into our bodies and our minds, and when I say minds, these can have an effect on the mind for sure. I think we can see that if we shut this off and pulled up to the evening news. I think we're all like, well, what the heck? What is going on out there? And so these pathogens, they're modulating themselves. They're changing shape. They are becoming stronger because our immune systems are more busy. Certainly, COVID brought in a virus the human body has never seen. Even though we are aware of spike proteins before it, it was modulated. Anybody who knows what's up, that was not a normal experience for humanity. And so we have all these contributing factors. Stuff in the air, stuff in the water. They've tested, gone across the United States of America and tested all the creeks, and every single creek has rocket fuel in it. And so, how do we, all we can do is the best we can to stay ahead of the game, of the toxic game. But really, our minds are so powerful, and having angels and having this belief and confidence in their ability to help us see us through these times. That's what God made them for. And so I'm just trying to encourage everybody to keep using them. It's a true honor to be able to bring this work forward. People who come through the class are able to do exactly what I'm able to do.
Wow.
And I think that is probably the answer to the question is, we're just inundated with so much stuff that we don't see,
Incredible. Yeah, we're going to be talking about modulation, and what's exciting, right? And we know this, that everything, whether it's a bacteria or pathogen, carries a frequency, right? So with frequency, we can begin to address that from a frequency basis immediately. I want to get to the process today because we're going to get to feel some of this. You have us doing an unfounded anxiety tuning to let go of that unfounded anxiety. And we might add some extra bits to this based on some of the callers today. So Dr. T, whenever you're ready, let's do that. But I'm going to give everyone kind of a couple warnings. Number one, don't listen while driving or operating heavy equipment. Please, I don't know where this is going to go, but I want you to be fully in a safe place when you do this. And for those of y'all listening in on YouTube or the live stream, we're going to cut that. For the social media folks, you're going to want to go to the full page to get Dr. Anthony's full interview. It's at uwealthrevolution.com/Anthony30. And there you're going to have the full interview. So Dr. T, when you're ready, anything you want to share with the audience, and then let's do the activation today.
Yeah, let's do. So a lot of people have their hands up already.